Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In a bid to escalate his campaign to remove President Nicolas Maduro from the helm of leadership in Venezuela, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order imposing new economic sanctions on the South American country. Weighing in on the matter is First Deputy Political Leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Alva Baptist, who questions St. Lucia's place in the Lima Group and says the island should not be playing sides when so many lives are being greatly affected by the strict sanctions. Solange Alfred tells us more.
The new order, signed by President Donald Trump, freezes assets of the government of Venezuela and prohibits economic transactions unless specified as an exempt. President Trump's ramped-up efforts to unseat President Nicolas Maduro has warranted a response from First Deputy Political Leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Alva Baptiste, who says the unfortunate event brings up memories of a war-torn Latin America.
I believe that given our proximity to each other, North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean, within the OAS, we can work out our differences. Certainly, it is not a very positive development. I remember what Latin America used to be, those countries. There was always some coup d'etat, always instability. And today, we have stable democracies. And it's unfortunate to see that Maduro was elected as president of Venezuela. And for forces like, certain elements declaring themselves president of Venezuela, every day somebody new will emerge. Guaido, who never ran for a presidential election, has declared himself the president of Venezuela. And certainly imposing more sanctions on the people of Venezuela will create more problems, human rights problems, because people should be entitled to receive food, shelter, medical care, and supposed to be able to live in their country and elect their own representatives.
Baptiste says the issue is one which should concern the island, given St. Lucia's decision to be part of the Lima Group, which recognizes Juan Guaido as the legitimate president of Venezuela.
Whilst the opposition has been calling for a diplomatic solution, you have a prime minister in St. Lucia that has joined a Lima Group, and the Lima Group is not recognizing Maduro. They recognize Juan Guaido, as the president of Venezuela. And the prime minister being head of CARICOM and asking CARICOM to engage in such matters. It's a very difficult place, for us as a country. We should have never found ourselves in the Lima Group in the first place. We, St. Lucia, should have tried to play a more balancing role in this particular scenario and continue to unite the rest of the OAS countries, unite the rest of CARICOM, so that we can speak to the United States of America and see what could be done to resolve that particular matter, including getting broader support in other parts of the world at the United Nations, so that we can have the people of Venezuela to get some relief.
Does this mean that all hope is lost with Trump signing the order and the crisis in Venezuela has no end in sight unless Maduro is ousted? Baptiste says never underestimate the power of comprehensive discussions.
At this point, that there's any resolve that can come about if discussions are to be had with President Trump?
Well, you can never tell. Diplomacy is never a bad instrument. And, of course, the quality of the discussion, the angles at which you approach the conversation are all equally important. So if somebody approaches it with great dexterity, you can never tell what reaction you're going to get from the President of America. But I do not believe that we should be taking sides and condemning. It's like a rivalry among siblings. If your brother and your sister or two sisters, you try to put peace. You don't try to side a sister against the other. You are not putting peace, in the family. And I look at the OAS as a family, and we should be able to manage our conflict in that family.
Sanctions placed on the Latin American country earlier have already collapsed the country's oil output, which greatly affected the global energy market. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
The Fisheries Department is announcing good news to seafood lovers island-wide. However, that news comes with strict stipulations. Whilst the lobster season is now officially opened, persons are asked to follow the guidelines and are also reminded to adhere to the laws put in place to protect nesting turtles. Calling all shellfish lovers, the lobster season in St. Lucia is officially opened. The Fisheries Department has announced that as of the 2nd of August through to the 28th of February 2020, the capture, sale and consumption of lobsters is now allowed. Fisheries biologist Elena Joseph said although the said actions are legal, persons are reminded to take heed of and follow the strict guidelines that come with the open season.
During that time, persons are encouraged to adhere to the guidelines when purchasing lobsters, and that would include the lobster shell, meaning the upper part or the carapace length should be at least or not lower than 9.5 centimeters, as well as the lobster should not be bearing eggs, so it shouldn't have any of those orange mass under the tail. Once you've noted or see that these are some of the characteristics that are present in the lobster that you may purchase, we encourage persons that they should not purchase lobsters which are bearing eggs or are undersized. You would also find lobsters that may be molting, meaning that they're changing their shell. At that point, the lobsters tend to be very vulnerable, and those animals are also protected. So once you touch the shell of the lobster and it's soft, it means that it's been molting and you should not have it in your possession. By the fisheries law, anyone in possession of undersized lobsters bearing eggs, or molting lobsters, or any lobster caught by using a pole spear would be fined 5,000 EC dollars per offense.
Joseph went on to speak about turtles who are now in the nesting period, and once again, she asked persons to adhere to the rules for the sake of the vulnerable animal. The fisheries biologist reminded persons to keep their distance from the animals.
The sea turtle season is now closed, or the fishery, and this season is designated as the nesting season. During the nesting seasons, persons will recognize or notice lots of turtles coming up to the beach to nest, to lay their eggs. And you would understand persons will get excited when they see turtles come up. It's an experience for everyone to see turtles nesting. However, the Department of Fisheries encourages everyone to give more caution when they're witnessing this event. Persons should not gather or distract the turtles, for example. Once this is done, the turtle will stop its nesting activity and go back into the water, and this is not what we want. We want the turtles to be able to have a successful nesting cycle, so at the end of the day it would help in the conservation efforts that we're trying to promote here in St. Lucia.
Joseph stressed on the warning where persons are asked to refrain from taking flash photography of the animals, both adults and especially the young ones, as they will become disoriented whilst trying to make their way to the water. She warned that the penalties for breaking the laws protecting the animals are stiff.
But based on the Fisheries Act and by law, it is illegal to interfere with any nesting sea turtle. And interfering means tampering with the eggs, and it's also illegal to, like I said, interfering with the nesting activity. By law, the offense can come up to a fine of 5,000 EC dollars. So the eggs too, if you have the eggs in your possession, it is illegal to have. So we encourage persons to refrain from having turtle eggs in their possession. It's a myth out there that it is a delicacy, and we encourage persons to not be consumed by, okay, we're going to get some eggs for those purposes. The bigger drive out there is to ensure conservation of our sea turtles, and having them in your having the eggs in your possession is illegal.
Joseph said persons are encouraged to report activities such as the sightings of nesting turtles or a turtle in distress to the Department of Fisheries. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez. The guessing game is over when it comes to deciding what to eat. The recent launch of a mobile phone app called W2E, What to Eat, looks to bring the hottest menus and coolest food locations in St. Lucia to the fingertips of hungry foodies. Solange Alfred tells us more.
Ever struggled with figuring out what to eat? An innovative marketing tool built and maintained by Regen Designs is looking to revolutionize how St. Lucians can search for the best food trucks, restaurants, and eateries on island. Introducing W2E, an app which places all the best food options and locations in the palm of your hands, so says co-founder of W2E, Alan Bowers.
A lot of times people eat at home sometimes because what they actually want is a lot more expensive in places that they know. But who's to say it might be a lot cheaper in another restaurant? The only way you know is to check. So the idea is now you have all the restaurants and all the menus at your fingertips. You can browse through the different menus to see what is within your budget. Because actually we do have a feature on the app where you can search based on price. So you can check the highest versus the lowest price. It all depends on your budget.
Will your smart device be equipped to run the Food Loving app?
Oh, it's compatible with both Android and iOS. It's actually live on the Play Store right now, both Android and iOS Play Store. You could download it today, and it's absolutely free both for restaurants and for food lovers. So we created that platform for persons who want to explore new foods, new places in a very easy, user-friendly way. And it's a very fun app. You can actually shake the app to get recommendations if you can't figure out what to eat. You can browse your reviews from your friends. So we try to make it for restaurants and food lovers, by restaurants and food lovers.
With the W2E app serving both customers and restaurateurs, Bowers explains the process for interested establishments looking to get on the app.
Restaurant owners can log into the app and claim their restaurant, and when they do that, they can change it up. They can add new menus, run promotions, stuff of that nature. We've been getting great feedback. Even on the Play Store itself, we got some feedback with people asking for some amendments to some features, or adding of new features, or adding of even restaurants. And in fact, because of that feedback, we found numerous restaurants that we didn't even know existed in St. Lucia. So it's already helping the population, it's already helping the restaurant owners.
The app can be downloaded from the Play Store or App Store for quick referencing when figuring out where to eat. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us, we'll be right back.